Thank you for joining me on the journey. This is Completed Christianity. Welcome back. Another episode of Being Complete. This is fifth day, what they say. And we're going to start with kind of a broad overview of what has been going on for centuries. So let's take a look. So they being scholars, say that we no longer keep matters of the law of Moses because now we have Christian liberty. But this is not the intent of Christian liberty. Christian liberty is that we're no longer bound by the doctrines and traditions of men, but now we have the example of Messiah to follow, and that these doctrines and traditions of men, that they're vile and abominable. So these scholars, they are dead wrong in this assertion that because of Christian liberty, we now no longer keep matters of the law. Surely no one quote demonstrates this. Rather, there is a large body of works that contribute as evidence to this statement. Many works point to the corruption of scholars, and the state of the modernized, westernized, Americanized believers testifies to this understanding. So the state of what is called the church, these modernized, westernized, Americanized believers, this whole state of how people are as believers today is evidence of this corruption that is behind the scenes that scholars receive. Individual scholars could be well-meaning, but they're taught something that's not well-meaning. So here's my business card, and this is how it happened in a nutshell. The believer's relationship to the law of Moses as we are taught today, which is that we no longer keep matters of the law, is a doctrine and tradition of man rooted in Roman anti-Semitism. The Romans, they got rid of these things because they didn't want to look Jewish. And these things were handed down for centuries. Today, these false doctrines are defended as scriptural truth through mistranslation and misunderstanding. So these false doctrines of, we no longer keep matters of the law, these false doctrines, yes, today they're defended as absolute scriptural truth because it's just like what Hitler said, that if you repeat a lie long enough and loud enough that it becomes the truth. And this is what has happened. If you're new to this, if you're not of this persuasion, this is why you think that this isn't true. It's because that's what you were always taught. That's what learned men and women that you knew of, that's what they always taught, but that's just what they were taught. And they were originally taught it by people who were disingenuous, people who knew that it wasn't the truth, but they're trying to corrupt the line and remove the word from the believer. They're trying to separate the word and the believer. And so if they can get you into a different word, a corrupted word, a watered down word, a different gospel, then they got you. They got you. This statement is from a decretal of a pope. A decretal is a letter written by a pope that establishes position, doctrine of the Catholic Church. This quote here, the Pope has power to change times, to abrogate laws, to dispense with all things, even the precepts of Messiah. The Pope has the authority and often exercised it to dispense with the command of Messiah. This is part of the evolution of how this came down the pike. At first, the pagan Romans, they didn't want to appear Jewish, so they did away with the laws, and then as the popes came along, then they adopted this as to where the Pope has the authority to cancel the scripture. So if the scripture says no and the Pope says yes, then that is the official doctrine of what is called the church. And then when the Reformation came around in the 1600s, 1700s, that these things didn't fully get ferreted out because they were so ingrained. Scholars today go through a school, and in these schools, these universities, these seminaries, they are taught the official position of the beast system, which is also the official position of the Catholic Church. And the plan is all those who oppose the doctrines of the Catholic Church is to water down the word to the point that you bring those people back to the authority of the popes and underneath the mark of the beast. Psalm 89:34, my covenant I will not break nor alter the word that has gone out of my lips. If you like the video, give us a thumbs up. Comments of opposition are welcome. Just don't say anything dumb like we're not under the law. We're under grace because you've been taught to use that verse outside of the bounds of its intended context. Subscribe now. Hit that subscribe button and ring that bell so that you get notifications of all future videos.